Hello, everyone, and welcome to BodyBags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Tats, and yeah, let's see here. Yeah, this month I've been delving into Stephen King miniseries, and this is going to be my last one for this month. There's still several others, so I'll probably end up doing this again, and I hope you've been enjoying it. I sure have, because I'm a Stephen King nut. I love it. I think you could tell. I do love me some Stephen King. So anyway, the one that I'm talking about today is, I believe it aired in 2011, I want to say. And this one is, this debuted on A&E and stars Pierce Brosnan. And this actually has a nice little cast. It has Pierce Brosnan, Melissa George. You remember her from movies like Turistas and 30 Days of Night, Amityville Horror Remake. You have Anika Noni Rose. I hope I pronounced that right. She's mostly known for voicing Tiana in The Princess and the Frog. Got Matt Frewer, who you remember Max Headroom, Jason Priestley. Let's see, and the late great William Schallert, who you remember from Joe Dante movies like Twilight Zone the movie, Inner Space. Probably his biggest thing he was known for was he was the dad on the Patty Duke show. But we have Bag of Bones, directed by Mick Garris, and screenplay by Matt Vane. Vane? I hope I pronounced it right. He's most known for writing the script for the Dario Argento Masters of Horror episode Pelts. But anyway, so honestly, yeah, I recommend this miniseries highly. And here's the thing, one thing I will say, if you were a little irritated by the, butt-numbing 4+ hours of Rose Red and Storm of the Century, at least this one's a little bit of a relief because this one only runs 2 hours and 42 minutes. So yeah, so nowhere near as long, but it's a good story. The story is about this best-selling writer named Mike Noonan, played by Pierce Brosnan. And I have to admit, I listened to the audiobook years ago, so I know the story. And I have to admit that while I like Pierce Brosnan is a good actor. He does a great job in this miniseries. I have to admit, when you read the book, Pierce Brosnan is exactly the first person that comes to mind when I think of the character of Mike Noonan. Um, don't get me wrong, does a great job, but just kind of like the way the character is written in the book, he's just kind of your typical run of the mill Maina, and of course Pierce Brosnan, he's Irish and he's got his accent and things like this, so it's a little bit different. But anyway, so you have Mike. He's a best-selling writer, and he's married to this beautiful woman Jo, played by Annabeth Gish, and they're everything seems like they're going really well. He just finished a book, and they have this, it's kind of cool. They have this ritual that they make wild, passionate love every time he finishes a book and stuff like this. Um, but there's a problem. The two of them have been trouble, conceiving a child because Mike has low sperm count. Well, so anyway, so they're at a book signing, and she says, Joa says, she wants to go to the drugstore get something, and so she, goes to the drugstore. As she's coming back, she gets hit by a bus, and so Mike goes out. He sees her, and he consoles her and everything, but unfortunately, Jo dies. And he noticed that one of the things that she bought at the drugstore was a pregnancy test. And because, Mike has low sperm count, he's, on the one hand, he's grieving and he's destroyed this woman that he loves more than anything in the world. She's gone. And it's just really like taking its toll on him. But at the same time, he's wondering maybe if she'd been having an affair, because, why for the pregnancy test? And so he's, now he can't write. He's developed this really bad case of writer's block, but, his agent, played by Jason Priestley, they're kind of on him to get the next Mike Noonan book out and all this. And so Mike is like, he has this, kind of security box with, manuscripts. So he's like, here, I'll just kind of delve into those. But he does realize eventually he's got to try to start writing again because he's only got so many manuscripts and they're not going to last forever. But it's just time is passing, and he's just really grieving because he loves his wife, and she's gone now and having to deal with all that. And so his brother Sid, played by Matt Frewer, tells him, hey, why don't you And then Mike comes to find out that actually Joe was spending a good time at Dark Score Lake, which is a little area where they have a summer home. And so Mike is, thinking that, like she was having an affair and she was going out there to meet whoever it was she was having an affair with and all this. And his brother says, well, why don't you go out there and check and, maybe, ask around, see what's going on. And so Mike goes out there and, he's staying there and he meets this woman, Maddie DeVore, played by Melissa George, and her little daughter, Kira. And so, he basically kind of saves Kira from being hit by a car, pretty much. And Maddie, is just, thank you so much. I'm sorry. I couldn't keep watch of her and stuff. He's like, nah, no big deal. And then everybody kind of lets him know, like, well, you kind of really stepped in the hornet's nest here, buddy, because that's Maddie DeVore. She was married to Lance DeVore. And Lance DeVore is the son of, Max DeVore. Max DeVore is kind of the big shot. He runs Dark Score Lake. He's kind of the big wig. He's the one with the money and the connections and all this kind of stuff. And so, Max DeVore starts drawing Mike into this, custody battle that he's having with Maddie over Kira, because the thing is that Maddie shot and killed Lance DeVore because Lance really was to protect Kira, because Lance was trying to drown Kira. And things really start to unfold, and Mike is like, he's being pulled into this web of, having to deal with this custody battle between Max DeVore and Maddie. And then he starts noticing interesting things going on around his summer home, particularly, messages being spelled out on his refrigerator with the kitchen, the alphabet kitchen magnets and things like this. And he starts realizing that the spirit of his wife, Jo, is there with him. But he's also realizing, like, something really wrong is going on here. And he's having these nightmares about this woman named Sarah Tidwell, played by Anika Rose. And it turns out that, she's haunting him, and as he starts to unravel that there's this curse on Dark Score Lake where, these fathers have been drowning their daughters or their children. And, he comes to find out that actually, his grandfather had come from Dark Score Lake, and that what he realizes is that Jo was never having an affair on him, but it's just, she was afraid that she was going to be pregnant and that they were going to have a child, and she was investigating this whole thing because she wanted to know if this curse could come on Mike, and Mike could potentially end up drowning their child. And so, she was trying to put a stop to it and things like this. And so then eventually, oh God, it's really hard because I don't want to give too much more away, but let's just say that, he starts to build a bond with Maddie and Kira, and then ultimately, the curse of Sarah Tidwell is starting to overtake, and, he's trying to fight the urge to let himself become possessed, because what ended up happening was that in 1939, Sarah, who was a singer, she was kind of a blues singer, she was singing, and she was with her daughter, Keisha. Well, she gets done singing, and, she gets done, she's just sitting out, having a break, smoking a cigarette, things like this, and her daughter, Keisha's playing around. Well, these guys come up, and one of them is actually Max DeVore, a young Max DeVore, and one of the guys was actually Mike's grandfather. And so they go up, and they're like trying to talk to her, trying to, make chatter with her. But Sarah, she's just kind of like, boys, just kind of leave me alone. I'm just, just want to enjoy my break and, have some peace and quiet and everything else. Well, these guys, turns out they don't like being rejected, so they end up assaulting and killing Sarah. And they decide they don't want to leave any witnesses, so they take Sarah's daughter Keisha and they drown her in the lake. And just as, Sarah is watching this, and just before she dies, she puts a curse on these men that they will, end up drowning their own children or their own grandchildren, things like this. And so, now coming to find out this whole thing is coming to pass. So now, it's kind of a race against time trying to stop it, because now we realize that Kira is now the next victim, and that, like Max DeVore has an assistant. This assistant is, wanting to fulfill the curse that Sarah, put on, Dark Score Lake. And, Sarah is trying to possess Mike to make him, kill, drown Kira and stuff like that. Of course, it's Stephen King, so of course there's got to be terrible things happening to kids, am I right? But I think I'm going to pretty much leave it at that. There's so much to unravel in this story, but like I said, I think if I keep going in, I'm going to give away too many spoilers, and I don't really want to do that. So I think the best thing to do is just go ahead and let you, watch this miniseries, and which I do recommend. It is a good story. Maybe it's not going to be as memorable. I mean, I'm sure this one definitely has its fans, but it's not going to probably be as memorable as like The Shining or Salem's Lot or Carrie or It or, whatever. But this is definitely a good watch. It's a good adaptation. It's very well done, very close to the book. Mick Garris does an excellent job directing. It's very solid. The acting in this is really solid. Like I said, Pierce Brosnan does a great job. The supporting cast is really good. Annabeth Gish, for what, unfortunately she's not in the miniseries very much, but for what time she's given, she does a good job. Melissa George, it's like, she does a really good job, I would highly recommend, definitely check out Bag of Bones. It's totally worth it. If you're in the mood for a good ghost story, like, it's a little lengthy, like I said, it's 2 hours and 42 minutes, but that's because there's a lot of story going on here. But it doesn't drag, it doesn't wear you down or anything like that. And like I said, after, the butt-numbing 4+ hours of Rose Red and Storm Century, hey, 2 hours and 42 minutes, that's a breeze. But yeah, I would definitely recommend. Check out Stephen King's Bags of Bones. So that's pretty much it. So if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave it a like. If you haven't already, go and subscribe to the channel. We have a different reviewer, one for every day of the week. I'm the Saturday reviewer. We have a bunch of great guys. Everybody's doing great stuff. And that's it, everybody. So take care. Have a good night, and I'll see you later.